Hey guys, so Lord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be continuing our looks at the Marvel Legends Strange Tales way with a strange cat in his own right. We have good old Marcus Spector, aka Mr. Moon Knight. This course brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, and I gotta tell ya, I think this may be the best Moon Knight we've ever gotten during the life of the Marvel Legends line. We'll talk about why in just a moment here, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase, get into the meat and taters of this review, and take a look-see at all Mr. Moon Knight has to offer in terms of accessories. And he's got quite a bit, so fasten your seatbelts, folks. He's got a pair of alternate fist hands. They, of course, have the knuckle dusters and the moons on the back. You also get one of these crazy moon glaives here, which I always liked. Then we have a new accessory, this Ankh. Not sure what he does with this. I assume he just beats guys over the head with it. But there you go. He comes with an Ankh, a very nice looking Ankh. And of course the same old kind of Gambit bow staff we're used to seeing with Moon Knights and Gambits and whatnots in Marvel Legends. And last and certainly least, he of course comes with the 3 little toenail clipping, fingernail clipping moonerangs that no Moon Knight is complete without. So he comes with quite a spread of accessories, but on top of that, on top of all of that, see these hands? These hands match the fists. We finally got the grip hands from the Moon Knight these fists come from, which, by the way, they have little slits if you want to try and put those moonerangs in there. I advise using super glue for that if you're going to do it. But we finally got the grip hands that go with those fist hands, so we have a little bit of consistency with our Moon Knight hands. That is awesome. I love that. And they have the appropriate inch-rolling weapons, so that is 2 points for Mr. Moon Knight here. They got trigger fingers, though. Although I think the Moon Knight that originally had these used guns, so maybe that's why. And on top of that, on top of all of that, again, we got a new cape. And this cape doesn't go past his freaking feet. In fact, it doesn't sit on the ground at all. So it doesn't hinder posing that much. But I will say it is very kind of thick rubber plastic material, so it is not going to move out your way too much. It's very difficult to A, pose his head, and B, pose his shoulders. He's got the butterfly joint, but it is a little hindered because of that cape, but not too bad. It could be worse. So as far as his articulation goes, his head will rotate. He's got a disc hinge, but you really only get down out of it. You don't get much up. If I'm not mistaken, the hood's, I think, new. Possibly just reused from like the Retro Card and Walgreens ones. I'm not sure. But you get your rotation. You do have a hinge. If you swap the cape out for a soft goods one, you might be able to get more out of that. His shoulders go up pretty far. He does have that swing back and forth, that butterfly joint that works pretty well. Full rotation. He does have a bicep swivel, as well as a double-jointed elbow, kind of loose. It is pinless, though, so if you're into that, good for you. He has gauntlets on his forearms, but they do not appear to be separate pieces. So I think this is a new forearm, or possibly reused from another figure. Not 100% sure about that, but it works. Again, he does have the swivel and hinge in the wrist with the appropriate inch-rolling weapons. That is awesome. He's got an ab crunch that leans that far forward and that far back. He's got this new belt piece. I think it's new anyways. That doesn't hinder the waist articulation too much. Kind of looks like a wrestling belt or a Masters of the Universe belt even. Very reminiscent of an old Toy Biz Moon Knight from the 5-inch days that came out as some kind of, was it Marvel Gold? I think was the name of the line. There was a Moon Knight figure in that, and he had a very similar belt. I think he had the gauntlets and the shin guards too. As far as the hips go, they will kick forward, they will kick out. Not a perfect split. But okay nonetheless. He does have a thigh cut. Not too gummy on there. He does have a double knee. And then he has a boot swivel, which is tight, but it's not gummy. It doesn't feel like it's going to shear the peg off or anything like that. So I chose not to lubricate that. I debated on doing it, but if anything, this was the side I actually had to heat up and pop a little bit of flash off of. And as you can see, it moves just fine. So I'm probably just going to leave the boots alone. I could do it, but I don't feel the need to. He does have a hinge in the foot with a rocker, however. And that's your lot. So, I gotta be honest. Probably the best Moon Knight we've ever gotten in Marvel Legends. Toy Biz, Hasbro, or otherwise. But, with that in mind, other than potential variants of this costume, maybe with some more gold in it, I don't think we need any more Moon Knights that are just kind of your basic run-of-the-mill Moon Knight. I'd like to see some of the crazier looking ones. I think there's one with like a bird skull head. And no, I'm not confusing him with Khonshu. There's actually a Moon Knight that has like a bird skull mask, like a Plague Doctor mask. There's some that look more mummified. I'd like something like that next time, just to mix it up a bit, you know? That said, if you're trying to complete your West Coast Avengers, this is a definite must-have. You gotta pick this guy up. So, yeah, man. That being said, it's time now to move right along and take a look. Some size comparisons. First up, here's good old Moon Knight, alongside a couple other figures from the Strange Tales wave. We have Brother Voodoo, or Dr. Doodoo, if you're into the internet memes and whatnots, as well as Damien Hellstrom, aka the Son of Satan. Still surprised we got to figure this character. Not rocking a cape like the other two characters from this Strange Tales wave here. We'll talk about that more in his review, though. Get him out of the way. I'm actually kind of surprised as to how tall Brother Voodoo is in comparison to Moon Knight and Hellstrom, but it is what it is. Bringing in our two regulars, though, we have the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibuloth right there. And the infamous 11 Spawn, who, as usual, towers over everyone. So with that being said, time now to wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and I'm going to stand by my previous statement in saying that as of right now, the time I'm recording and posting this review, that this version of good old Moon Knight here is the best version of the character we've gotten throughout the entirety of the Marvel Legends line, Hasbro, Toy Biz, or otherwise. On top of the fact that we finally got a cape that doesn't go past his freaking feet, he is pinless and comes with all the accessories you could possibly want with a Moon Knight figure. You've got the bow staff, you've got the Ankh, you've got those pesky little moonerangs, and the appropriately hinged grip hands and fist hands on top of all of that. That said, I do not think we need another traditional looking Moon Knight in the Marvel Legends line, although maybe there is a variation of this particular sculpt they could put out just to save a couple bucks here and there, because we know how Hasbro is. That said, I'd like to see some of the more crazier looking Moon Knight designs, the more Egyptian, mummy looking ones. I think that would be pretty cool, to say the very least. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.